This is Joe Burrow's offense. Without him on the field, that is a tremendous loss. We saw what Jake Browning looked like out there. 8 of 14, 68 yards. Yeah, he had a touchdown, but he was sacked 3 times. He threw into tight windows 50% of the time. You know what that tells me, Joe? This is a guy who's turnover prone. And you're going up against good pass rushes in the next few weeks, and they will feast on possible turnovers. I think this is horrible news for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and it's a problem for the league. It's a big problem. You want the best out there. And actually, I think Browning hasn't looked as bad as a lot of the quarterbacks we've seen this year, but we're talking about making the playoffs. I mean, yeah, we could list 10 guys probably that have been worse, but it's still a significant drop-off, a minimum touchdown, maybe even closer to 10 with what you laid out there about Burrow. Let me ask you guys this. When you guys were thinking that they would sneak into the playoffs, is this flipping on that? Is that about Burrow or is it about that loss last night? Like, how much does that change? Because, with that loss, okay, we got 7 teams that have 5 losses.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati's one of them. All 7 teams are out right now. Houston is holding on to the last playoff spot in the AFC at 5-4. Is it about that loss? Is it about being 0-3 in the division, or is it about being without Burrow?
I think it's about being without Burrow. That's the way that I see it, because I was already anticipating the Bengals to lose this game in large part because I think the Ravens are probably in a position to run away with this division. It's entirely possible given who's left, the quarterbacks are going against, all that stuff. I think the Ravens could run away with this thing. The problem, though, is there were other games that I was perhaps expecting them to win just because they were on this evolutionary uptick. And now with Jake Browning in all likelihood playing, that's not going to happen. And defensively, yes, they can be fine with longer fields, but you saw what happened last night. Against a dynamic offense, even without all of their pieces, the Ravens were able to do just about whatever they wanted to do. This is bad news not having Joe Burrow on a variety of fronts, and I think that's the bigger deal than just one defeat, Aaron.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a combination. Just a big uphill battle to climb, even if you had Joe Burrow healthy still. Where they're at, I mean, it's crazy. They have the same record. The Bengals have the same record as the Raiders and the Colts. The Bills too.
And the Bills that we buried. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
It's just it's a tough conference, a huge uphill battle to climb. I think it's a combination of both. Now that you don't have Burrow, I kind of want to just bury the Bengals at this point. I don't think they can climb out of this.
Somebody's got to finish in last place in that division. It's probably going to be the Bengals now. With the schedule they have one of the most difficult schedules the rest of the way. Yeah, I if I had to pick a team to finish in last, I would say it's going to be the Bengals.
I was so excited yesterday. We finally have a good Thursday night game, and then everyone's dropping like flies. The Mark Andrews thing is huge. I mean, you saw Lamar throw his helmet. He was so mad about that. That's his best and favorite target. How much is he worth to the point spread? I mean, I think Mark Andrews is very important, besides Lamar, to that offense. I don't know where they go from here. It's just a lot of concerns all the way around, and very frustrating. Just having injuries like that when you should have had a really good game yesterday.
It's the Isaiah Likely show out in Baltimore. That's how this is going to work, right? Or this offense, Aaron, is going to have to completely redo itself. I mean, I guess they have the bye in order to do that, so maybe they can incorporate deeper throws, intermediate throws with the receivers, things like that. Beckham, Flowers, okay, that helps. The running game's still fantastic. So I suppose there are ways, but yeah, you're going to miss who I think is the second best tight end in football in Mark Andrews, no doubt about it.
It's hard to defend, as a woman who's been in this business for over 20 years. It's like sideline reporters have been getting a bad rap. It's a pointless job. They don't really do anything. Why are they there? And this really sets us back really far by those comments, because you could have got something. You could have been scrappier. And even if, you're playing devil's advocate and you're like, okay, Carissa's bosses were like, you got to give us something. And she's just making stuff up. We got to be better on third down. This is exactly why your job is pointless. Why a lot of people say it's pointless. And now it's just, Why did you do that? And I also think it's arrogant. You think you can just go on national television and make stuff up and make a joke out of it? Like, I think that's unacceptable, and I think there should be consequences. Now, do I think maybe sideline reporter jobs are a little bit meaningless at times? Yes, and this just goes to prove it. And that's why I've always thought that job is a bit unfulfilling. But there are people who do take it seriously and are trying to get real information and reporting what they see down on the sidelines. That's what it's supposed to be. Give us something, And if you're just going to go out there and make a mockery out of it, then I have a problem with that.
Tweet from Adam Schefter, I think, is most relevant when it comes to the sports betting space. The NFL is investigating why the Bengals did not list Joe Burrow on their injury report when the team posted a picture of him wearing a device on his wrist Wednesday night, and he appeared to be hampered by the injury early in the Thursday night game that he later left, the league confirmed today. NFL routinely looks into matters of compliance. They will do so in this instance as well. Teams can be fined or even potentially lose a draft pick because of this. But Joe, I think for us, this matters a great deal because if we don't have all of the information, it makes life much, much tougher on us to figure out how to handicap such games like these.
We would have spent all day yesterday talking about the Burrow injury, and we didn't talk about it because we didn't know about it. He wasn't on the injury report. And the league has come down and said that you guys got to be more honest. They try to push it, but there's only so much they can do. So Zach Taylor comes out and says he has no idea. He didn't know anything about it. We all know he's lying. He's lying because Aaron said it at the top, and she's 100% correct. If you don't know that your franchise quarterback that you just gave the lifetime deal to is injured and you're the head coach, then you should be launched yesterday. We all know that he knows. We all know he knows. And it just, the surprising part was, we're not talking about the calf anymore. Now we're talking about the wrist. And there's just no other way. There's no way around it. We've talked about this. The NFL is in bed with sportsbooks. And the NFL is promoting sportsbooks everywhere you look. It's signage in the stadium. It's commercials throughout it's everywhere. It's on the crawl of the games. It's on NFL Network day and night. You can't take on the billions and billions of dollars from so many sports books that they are partners with. I think the number's at seven, not one, not two, but we're talking seven. And then have this. You can't have it. We spend how much time every week talking about the injury report and breaking it down? Okay, he was questionable or he's a 50-50. We were talking about it with the Bears last week, that the head coach is on record saying the player's not going to play, but he's not out. What the hell are you talking about? So the league better get this figured out. And I'd also add that there were some drastic overreactions as Mike Florio was on the warpath last night talking about a grand jury getting involved. So, we've got to find some common ground here.
I mentioned yesterday that what's impressed me the most about Jared Goff that he has not done all season long is play well all career long, is play well under pressure. The numbers really back that up. Success rate for him under pressure is close to 40%. That's the highest for him since at least 2018. Completion percentage over expected, 3.4%. That's number one for any season of his. And the whole Justin Fields thing is, okay, yes, he is better and he's not the worst quarterback out there. That's established. But I wonder if this is just a time when the Lions defense will come out to shine and absolutely dominate a quarterback who may not be using his feet as much as he normally would. I think too many things point in the Lions' direction for me. The public certainly agrees. They're backing them, second most bet on team per BetMGM. And I love them so much, guys. I think I'm going to make this my alternate spread of the week. Lions minus 10.5. Let's go. Detroit. I don't care. It's a divisional game. Detroit's going nuts. Detroit minus 10.5.
I'll go ahead and give you the audio clip for next week because since we got Stafford at full health, I believe it's a week to bet the overs on Puka Nacua because the Seahawks are one of those defenses that you can set your watch to. They're playing zone coverage on over 80% of their snaps since they returned from their bye, a stretch of 5 games. And this year, Puka has been awesome and the more dominant receiver against zone coverage. They're also mixing him with Cooper Kupp from the middle of the field, which is how we target the Seahawks too, since with both Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon healthy, they've been awesome. They're literally allowing a league-low yards per catch from the boundary, but you can still attack them up the gut. And Puka against zone coverage this year has not only seen 61% of his targets against said coverage, but he's had a league-high 49 catches for the 7th most yards per route run against that. So I have confidence in Puka, and I like the number for the Rams too. I'm crossing my fingers since Stafford is practicing full throughout the week. I don't think they're lying about it like we were lied to about Joe Burrow's injury. The cover-up is on from the Bengals already and Zach Taylor. But with Stafford healthy, remember, Sean McVay has had Pete Carroll's number. They found a way to hang around in all these games with McVay. Even going back to last year, that was Baker Mayfield and John Wolford. And they were only outscored by the Seahawks by a combined 7 points. McVay still hung them around. And then Stafford comes out in week 1 and wings it around the field for 337 and 8.5 yards per attempt. So I do like the Rams with the number 2.